Hey yo, World Wide Web. I'm Becca Shado, the internet personality with the shitty voices and stuff. Sounded better in my head. Point is, while I've dabbled in his work before, I haven't really explored Sylvester Stallone as an actor very much at all in my reviews. Which is a shame considering 80s action movie icons, he's probably right behind Schwarzenegger when it comes to notoriety. But before Stallone was a shooting, sweating superstar, he was a starving artist. Quite literally. But a combination of tenacity and sheer luck drastically changed his life in the 70s when he starred in the massively successful film Rocky, which he wrote as well. In fact, if he hadn't refused to sell the script without being contracted to play the starring role in the film, he'd probably still be broke today. How shrewd Stallone was is the stuff of legend, as he stuck to his guns on the bargain despite having about $100 to his name. United Artists even cut the movie's budget in half, from $2 million to $1 million, upon it being settled that Sylvester Stallone would take the lead role. Of course, this is 1976 we're talking about, so $1 million was a lot more than it sounds like today. Much like $100. But the point is, Stallone got his time to shine on the big screen as a mentally handicapped boxer. Considering that's how he wrote it, I can't say he was upset about this turn of events. Rocky was written in a way that was semi-autobiographical, depicting Stallone's own struggles in show business through the lens of the boxing world as his avatar, Rocky Balboa. Which does make me wonder if there's a scene where Rocky is giving blowjobs under a bridge. Anyway, let's take a look at Rocky, and hope not. Opening to the iconic music that I can't do a big montage skit with unless I want even more trouble with copyright shit on my channel, the visuals kick in with Jesus Christ, Lord and Savior Incorporated. And Rocky Balboa in a pugilism match with Spider Rico, played by Pedro Level. Or, as his character is listed every fucking elsewhere I look, Club Fighter. Sounds like a really shitty Street Fighter knockoff. Which wouldn't be too far off the beaten path, as this is an incredibly shitty venue and the two men are regarded as incredibly shitty fighters. I mean, look at him. Rocky spends most of the fight hugging Rico, and what professionals anywhere would stand for such bullshit? However, Rocky does win after pinning the man and beating his face while he's down, which I'm pretty sure is against the rules somewhere, but never mind. The point is Rocky gets to take home the prize money.
40-55.
When do I fight again?
Maybe 2 weeks.
Adjusted for inflation to 2015, that's about $169. Looks like roast ramen again, eh, Rock? Which seems the norm for him, as the opening credits establish he is quite securely nailed down to the lower class areas of Philadelphia. But he does have a small family to come home to.
Hey, your old man did pretty good tonight. Why weren't you there, huh?
Rocky, it takes them a week to walk to the venue.
You want to see your friend Moby Dick, huh?
Stallone, I thought you weren't doing those movies anymore.
Here you go, say hi. You know, if you guys could sing or dance, I wouldn't be doing this, you know?
The goldfish. I was worried for a second this movie was going to summon Creepy. As he has pets, that means he also has a specific pet shop that he frequents, staffed by Adrian, or ADRIAAAAN, played by Talia Shire.
You know, the last turtle food I got here had more moss in it than flies. You know that, Adrian? They get caught in the turtle's throat right about here in his claws, right? I gotta smack them on the back of the shell, and what do you think they get?
Launched him out of the shell wearing a white tank top and boxer shorts?
Show shot. Bigger show shot. What do you think?
I think my joke was better. The other worker doesn't much care for Rocky's habit of showing up and trying to talk to Adrian, so she orders the lady to work in the other room, leaving the man with nothing left to do but steal the turtle food.
Hey, crime don't pay. You know that, Florida. You know that.
Which does explain how he can keep his turtles in his apartment when he can hardly afford food for himself. But this might make him sound like an asshole, but just think of it like Robin Hood, except against other down-and-outs, and for the benefit of amphibians. Come to think of it, don't think of it. Still, his winnings hardly are enough to live on, so he makes up the difference by being the hired muscle to shake down folks late on their payments to the local loan shark, Gazzo, played by Joe Spinell.
How come you didn't break this guy's thumb like I told you?
Well, how do you know I didn't break it?
You don't think I hear things? Did I give you a job this morning or I didn't?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
So why didn't you break his thumb like I told you to?
Don't try to pull any of that henchman's union crap on me. You know that stuff's in your contract.
So long, meatbag.
I should have broke your thumb!
That's not in your contract neither. Not being the end of his bad luck, it turns out Rocky's locker in the local boxing gym is locked. Extra locked. Because it's not his locker anymore.
Talking about ain't my locker. It's been my locker for 6 years. Where's my gear?
Mickey told me to bag it, hang it.
Because at this point, Jesus could arrive in Philadelphia for his second coming, initiating revelations just to spit in Rocky's face, and it wouldn't make it feel any worse. Mickey, famously portrayed by Burgess Meredith, gives the long and short of why Rocky lost his locker. He's a loser, whom, while oozing with potential, never bothered to focus that, and as such is stuck on the lowest rankings, and Mickey is tired of dealing with him. But hey, at least he gives Rocky something else to talk about with Adrian.
Lockers are bad anyway. After a while, people get the combination. I must have had $20 sticking out of there in the past 6 years, you know? Don't sound like much, but it adds up.
Well, that's the total after 6 years, and that's all it added up to. If it doesn't sound like much, it's because it wasn't.
Hey, Bird. Hey, look who's here. Look who's here. The giant worm.
Stallone, I told you, you're over that. Stop! Still, Adrian cares not for Rocky's enormous nematode, so he leaves, leading to a bar where he meets up with Adrian's brother, Paulie, played by Burt Young. Seems he and Rocky know each other, and Paulie is actually trying to get the two together, as his sister is insanely shy.
She's pushing 30 freaking years old, and if she don't watch out, she's gonna end up dying alone.
I'm 30 myself.
Fuck, I'll be 32 in a couple weeks. Watch out for 4K, you'll be able to spot the gray hairs I'm sporting. The concern over his sister becoming some crazy cat lady is enough for Paulie to invite Rocky over for Thanksgiving tomorrow. We also see that Carl Weathers is on TV, playing the charismatic Apollo Creed, announcing that this new year, that being the start of 1976, there will be a special boxing match to commemorate the bicentennial. For those who don't know, that's the 200th anniversary for the independence of the United States of America. Don't roll your eyes at me, it's 2015. That shit was 39 years ago. There are some people out there who really don't know.
Stay in school and use your brain. Be a doctor, be a lawyer, carry a leather briefcase. Forget about sports as a profession. Sports make you grunt and smell.
Looks like someone's in a job they hate. But Rocky can be inspirational too. Look, he gives Marie, played by Joey Letizia, a lecture about hanging around smart kids instead of gangsters and druggies. He even walks her home.
Hey, Rocky.
Yo.
Screw you, creepo.
Well, looks like at least one person on set is familiar with Stallone's early work. Though Rocky's not the only one with problems. It appears the man who Apollo was set to fight for the bicentennial bout has suffered a broken bone in his left hand, meaning this show that they've already poured ass tons of money into advertising may have to be cancelled. Especially considering, as luck would have it, every single heavyweight fighter they've contacted since has one excuse or another for why they can't do it.
I get hold of every worthwhile contender, and they all say the same thing. 5 weeks just isn't enough time to get into shape.
Oh, shape nothing, man. They're afraid.
Because people who are afraid to lose always climb to the highest ranks in boxing? Just when all hope seems lost, though, Apollo Creed comes up with the perfect plot for this movie.
This is the land of opportunity, right? So Apollo Creed on January 1st gives a local underdog fighter an opportunity. And there's nothing they'd like better than to see Apollo Creed give a local Philadelphia boy a shot at the greatest title in the world on this country's biggest birthday.
Well, if that's what you're going for, you could still delay this thing for like 6 months. As this is a unique opportunity for one random, unknown individual, of course they are hand-selected by Apollo Creed to fit his extremely strict requirements.
Rocky Balboa? Never heard of him.
Look, it's the name, man. The Italian Stallion.
Who cares if he comes into the ring and looks like fucking Danny DeVito? It's the name that matters. Back on the soap opera storyline, Paulie brings Rocky home to Adrian.
Yo, how you doing?
Which, of course, she didn't know about. It's always great when your first impression is scaring the fuck out of a woman. Speaking of which...
You want the bird? Go in the alley and eat the bird.
Oh,
I'm not sure if this was supposed to show a dysfunctional family life or give the audience something to relate to. Backed into a corner, yelled at, and completely against her wishes, Adrian decides, fuck it, she'll go out with Rocky if it helps this scene get over with. This brings them to an ice rink, devoid of people, spare the maintenance man, George Memoli, whom I definitely remember as Philbin from Phantom of the Paradise. Point is, one small bribe later, and the two lovebirds take to the ice to connect.
I still fight. I kind of do it like a hobby. See, I'll tell you what the trouble is. You see, I'm a southpaw.
it's a southpaw.
Oh, southpaw means you're left-handed, and southpaw throws your timing off.
Interestingly enough, the scene was originally intended to have a hell of a lot more extras skating around the rink, but the problem was George was the only guy that showed up on shooting day. So they improvised and ended up with a scene that was, strangely enough, a lot more memorable as a result. Afterward, the two return to Rocky's horribly run-down apartment, but don't worry about Paulie not knowing where she is. Rocky gives him a call.
Yo, Paulie, your sister's with me. I'll call you back later. See ya.
It's a pretty affordable plan. As a warning, long distance can really hurt you. He then shoots down each and every request for her to leave in a manner that, while romantic and really gets the emotions pumping, would be completely shat on by the Tumblr community of today. So let's ignore the BS and just appreciate that Adrian doesn't actually need those glasses she's been wearing all movie, quite especially as the two of them get down and dirty on the floor of this filthy apartment. And no, she never wears the glasses again for the rest of the movie. What is it with films and optional astigmatism? The next day, it turns out Rocky has received a request to meet up with Apollo Creed, but that doesn't mean Mickey can't yell at him some more for being a loser.
Because you had the talent to become a good fighter. And instead of that, you became a leg breaker. Some cheap, second-rate loan shark. It's a waste of life.
I hate to hear Mickey's opinions of being an internet film reviewer. And it doesn't matter, Rocky goes to find out what exactly Apollo wants with him.
Would you be interested in fighting Apollo Creed for the World Heavyweight Championship?
No.
The end. Or rather, after enough coaxing and patriotic jargon about opportunity, Rocky accepts the challenge, along with the big fuck ton of money that comes with it, and the chance to make an ass out of himself on national TV.
Well, geez, Creed's the best. I guess I'll have to do the best I can.
I'm gonna be the very best, like no one ever was. To fight Apollo is my real test. To get Adrian is my cause. But yeah, there's still that whole thing about his involvement with the loan sharks and the like.
Put this in your glove.
What's this?
$500. Don't worry about it.
Or not. Fuck, wasn't Gazzo complaining earlier that Rocky was making him look like a charity? Along with everyone else suddenly treating him like royalty, Mickey shows up at Rocky's place himself to offer his expertise as Rocky's manager.
Bring the same night, so who gets the publicity? Figure that out.
Dempsey.
That's right, but why?
Because he was champ.
No! Because he had a manager.
This sounds like the same shtick people use to get folks to sign up for their shitty multi-channel networks.
I need your help about 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago?
Right.
You never helped me. You didn't care.
Well, if you wanted help.
So, Rocky doesn't accept Mickey's offer to be his manager. He just yells at him. Like, a lot.
You come around here, you want to move in here with me? Come on in, it's a nice house. Real nice, come on in and move. It stinks.
Allegedly, this monologue here was ad-libbed on the spot, inspired by the fact that the apartment they were filming in smelled like shit.
That's right, it stinks.
Nevertheless, he realizes he still has to train, so after a morning cup of I won't be having eggs again for at least a few weeks, we get our first training montage before Rocky meets up with Paulie at the meatpacking plant. The topic, of course, goes to Adrian, and it turns out Paulie has changed from wanting Rocky to get together with his sister to being psychotically protective of the woman.
You balling, huh?
Hey, you don't talk dirty about your sister.
Now I'm confused as fuck as to what the hell Paulie thought was gonna happen. Here, go out with my sister. But anything beyond a game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is off limits, okay? Naturally, they argue, but Paulie punching the meat inspires Rocky to expand his training regimen. Congratulations, you have discovered the caveman's punching bag. Please don't tell me this is actually an important plot point. Well, something that isn't is when Mickey introduces a string to Rocky's ankles. I guess he's managing him now. Glad we saw that conversation. Anyway, it's meant to improve his balance. Something that was never seen as a problem in his fights before and doesn't ever come up again. Unlike the meat punching, which is an important plot, god damn it! In Paulie's ever-growing desire to ride Rocky's coattails into fame and fortune, he's invited a news crew in to broadcast the man's training.
Is this a common training method? I mean, do other fighters pound raw meat?
No, I think I invented it.
That's because it has no benefits over a traditional bag. On the other hand, it's very light, smells bad, and it can fuck up your hands. Those are all negative parts to this training method. The Rocky universe works like the Elder Scrolls, though, so the meat method helps Rocky become better at breaking ribs. Because... Enough preparing for a fight, though. Let's go back to As the Cheesesteak Turns, where we find Paulie is now violently angry that Rocky and his sister are an item, which he helped set up, and was violent in that stage of the arrangement as well. Come to think of it, Paulie's just an asshole. The end result is Adrian moves in with Rocky and his shitty apartment. Yes, they went over earlier how women weaken legs and all that, but it never comes up again, so don't worry. Also, Paulie and Rocky are still friends somehow, as long as the man can make money off him, it seems.
Advertising. I know about that stuff.
Gonna monetize your fists. Every time you punch someone, I make half a cent. That about sets the tone for the soap opera side of things, so we've got nothing much else to see aside from Rocky training to beat Apollo Creed. How, you ask? Musical montage, of course. Also, that zoom in on top of the stairs is actually a zoom out played backwards. Want proof? I'll be here in case you need me to ruin more iconic movie moments for you. The night before the big fight, Rocky heads out to the arena trying to collect his thoughts, and pointing out continuity errors in his own movie.
Mr. Jergens, the poster's wrong.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm wearing white pants with a red stripe.
Strangely, instead of breaking the fourth wall, this comes off more like the venue didn't bother double-checking the details for the nobody contender, which strangely makes it feel more real. After taking it all in, Rocky returns home to Adrian, telling her the sum of his thoughts.
Can't do it.
Come on, Stallone, I already did the end credits joke. More specifically, Rocky doesn't believe he can beat Apollo. However, he knows that nobody has ever gone more than 3 rounds with the man, and if he can do better than that, it will be enough to show that he's worth more than what so many people think. I could have also tried not working for loan sharks, fighting anyone other than the lowest of the low in the boxing world, paying for your turtle food. Never mind all that. It's the day of the big fight, which means Rocky is showing up in a modest, albeit oversized robe, and Creed immediately dwarfing his presence by arriving on a goddamn 4th of July parade float.
What do you think that outfit cost?
His integrity, honor, and probably his sobriety at some point. In case you're wondering, we're finally about to see the second boxing match in this whole damn movie, at the hour and 45-minute mark. Eventually.
I've never seen a fighter that concerned about his hair.
Well, you've obviously never seen me fight, so... When it finally gets started, it's more than a little obvious Apollo is just toying with Rocky, believing the man can't possibly pose a threat, so he plans to bide his time for the knockout in round 3. Problem is...
I don't believe it! The champ is down. Yes, he is.
The long-ranking fighter actually plans to fight this man. Who knew? Climbing to his feet in about 20 seconds, Creed continues the fight, because the first 15 seconds doesn't count. Fuck it, if Rocky can win a match by beating a man while he's down, Creed can continue fighting after 10 seconds are up. It's only fair. As the fight continues, Apollo lands a massive blow, breaking Rocky's nose, but this underdog isn't giving up, using his secret meat-beating arts to pound away at Apollo's ribs, seriously injuring the contender. Of course, the actors also suffered injuries during the shoot, as Stallone's ribs were bruised, and Carl Weathers' nose got a little damaged. That's kind of ironic. Going all 15 rounds, the final round has Rocky actually getting the upper hand, pummeling Creed against the ropes, only to have the final bell signal the end of the match before a knockout can take place. This means the fight must go to decision, but that's no reason not to jump immediately into interviewing the fighters.
What do you think about when the 15th round you're coming out?
You know, that line has a lot more emotional weight to it after watching all 2 hours of the movie. Not gonna lie. But the match ends up a split decision, and immediately they decide that just barely Creed wins. Rocky says he doesn't give a damn about a rematch, and the movie ends with a once unknown boxer embracing the love of his life, which is all he really cares about in this moment. Well, that was Rocky. And, it's a fucking drama. That makes it really hard for me to review it, considering that's a genre I don't really dig into. But seriously, what else am I supposed to call this? The movie is 2 hours long, and very little of it has to do with the fight. Instead, it spent fleshing out the setting and giving life to the characters, plus detailing their interwoven relationships and how they matter to each other. Despite it not being a genre I have much experience in, I will say, in my opinion, a good drama is one that will get the audience invested in the characters, and a great one will pull on the proverbial heartstrings to get an emotional reaction out of you, and in that sense, Rocky was phenomenal. The evolution of the relationship between Rocky and Adrian alone was enough, but the love-hate relationship with Paulie, while at times confusing, did give the world a real and somewhat unpredictable feeling. Of course, all movies have flaws, and Rocky is no exception. The idea that 1 week Rocky is working for a loan shark, and the next he's set to win tons of money, so the loan shark gives him $50,000 and bids him a good day? In what universe? Also, the things that come and go but don't seem to make any difference at all, like the string training or the talk about how women weaken legs, while it may flesh out the world more, it does feel kind of meaningless. At the end of the day, Rocky is a classic for obvious reasons. It's easy enough to get into, but complex enough to feel like it could be a true story. The characters have their own motivations and goals in life, and the most important thing, the movie does a damn good job making you feel what the characters feel. It's not the clear winner of Best Movie Ever award, but it's so damn close that doesn't matter, coming in at 5 stinky bathroom monologues out of 5. And no, I am not going to be going into every single Rocky movie in one big chunk. I think that would get really old really fast. Though, it's not that I have anything against Stallone. In fact, I'd really like to dig into more of his work. So much so, I think it's about time to make this official. It is now
The Summer of Sylvester Stallone!
Yo, how you doing?